Hello, everyone. I don't know whether you can hear me. I'm having a few problems with my sound at the moment. So I don't know whether you can sort of let me know in the chat whether you can hear me. I think I have sound. So welcome, everybody. I am so excited to have you here. It is absolutely incredible to be live on New Year's Day. So welcome to this live. It's the 1st of January. It's actually the 2nd of January for me because I'm out in Southeast Asia. I'm in Thailand. So it's absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to read some comments to see who we have here. Firstly, who we have here, we're going to sort of get to see them very, very shortly at the start of this live, is we have 3, I was hoping to have 4 actually. We have 3 of our winners of the 8-week challenge. So during August, September, October and November, we ran an 8-week challenge. We got some absolutely incredible ladies that I'm going to introduce you to. And actually someone's just arrived, so that's really good. So we have all 4 women. And we're going to find out who's won $20,000. So they've actually managed to transform their bodies and win $20,000. I'm going to be talking about an opportunity for you guys to win $20,000 as well. So it's going to be a very exciting evening. It's probably evening for you. It's morning for me. Absolutely beautiful day here in Thailand. So it's just going to be an incredible evening. I'm going to talk about in 2025 how you can transform your body. And we're going to talk about what's out, as in what you shouldn't be doing, what's out, what doesn't work. And these women will be a testament to what doesn't work. And we're going to talk about what does work, what's in for 2025 for you guys. So even if you don't want to take part in the challenge and you just want to sort of do this for yourself, maybe, you know, you're not ready to make that sort of investment. I would just mention, I've actually got a book out, which is a very accessible way for you to actually, the book does include a meal plan and a workout. It's a very accessible way for you to kind of take part in this challenge. So, sorry, not take part in the challenge, take part in, you know, my method as well. I don't know whether Abby can put the link in the chat. It's available on Amazon and it's $14.99 for the paperback copy of the book. And it's $9.99 for the ebook. So that's a very easy, accessible way for you to actually, you know, work according to my method, which I'm going to talk about, actually, you know, do everything that follows my method. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a shout out to some people that have turned up. Thank you very much. I do appreciate you joining me on New Year's Day, because it's actually a really special day. It's a public holiday, isn't it, on the 1st of January 2025. So I always appreciate it when women decide they're actually going to spend some time with me. I kind of think, you know what, I am so blessed that you've decided to take some time out of your day or your evening to spend some time. So I'm going to give a shout out to Nezia Azmi. Welcome, Nezia. Tinker's one of my, I know, I'm just going to actually get you up, Tinker, because I know you're one of my big fans, really, aren't you? I see you everywhere. So thank you very much for following me. Tinker says, all of us who completed the challenge, congratulations, and hope you are patting your back frequently. Absolutely. Because it is a challenge. It's a challenge. It's called a challenge for a reason, isn't it? Because it is absolutely really challenging. And one of the things a coach said to me back in my early days when I was actually sort of starting off transforming my body, and she said to me, you know, Melissa, I give women over 50, because, you know, I'm 57. I was in my 50s at the time. She said, I give them the same stuff that I give younger women in terms of working out. I give them the same routine and I don't make any exceptions. So that's kind of what I do for you guys. But what I do know is sometimes you have to modify things. Sometimes you've got problems with your shoulders. Sometimes you've got problems with your hips. Sometimes you've got problems with your back. I have problems with my hips and my back. Sometimes you've got problems with your knees. So sometimes we do have to modify things. And usually when we start exercising regularly, what we will find is that we actually improve. And most people who work with me, who do any of my programs, will find they actually improve. Or perhaps you just follow what I say. So Carla, hello Carla Henry, Happy New Year to you. Thank you for joining. Hello Megan Sobar, Happy New Year to you. Thank you for joining. I'm just going to scroll down a bit more. Hello Becca Poo, sorry. Cheers and Happy New Year from Florida. Well, thank you very much. And let me know in the comments, let me know, are there any sort of particular concerns for you that you would love to find out today? Lynn says, I feel like $1 million at 60 because of this. Yeah, so I feel like $1 million at 57. I definitely do. I probably feel like the best I've ever felt in my entire life. So that's absolutely awesome. And Butterflies Are Free says, that's absolutely awesome. So Becca Boo says, your mobility and feeling strong are like concerns. You can absolutely work on that. I promise you. My partner, Ken, he had really bad knees before he started working out with me a few years ago. And now they're really improved. They're not perfect, but they're really improved. So you can absolutely improve your strength, as all the women that we're going to speak to today that have sort of won prizes in my 8-week challenge, August, September, October, November, they took part. I must say the women that took part in November, that was really challenging for them because they had to deal with Thanksgiving, Christmas, and still complete the challenge, which when we're talking about food, that was really difficult. So they did have a special shout out. We're going to announce the winner of the November challenge today as well. So Ronnie says, I did the September 8-week challenge. It will be good to know how you're getting on, because it's really important to keep the momentum going as well once you've had all that success over the 8 weeks. O says, how about overtraining and suffering injuries on the competition? Yeah, so we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about like the next steps for those of you that took part in the competition in 2024, the next steps for you as well. We'll talk about that, and we're going to talk about how to generally transform your body and how to make this sustainable for the rest of your life. Right, so I'm going to get into it. I'm going to do in my own inimitable style. I'm actually going to be sharing screen, which is a little bit challenging. Let's just see. I'm hoping I'll be able to share the screen. Let's have a look, because I've got to I've actually got to do something with the layout. So excuse me while I'm actually presenting here. So in my own inimitable style, I'm going to actually share the screen here. And, oh, I've actually got the wrong window up. Excuse me, you know, I am a woman over 40. So this is what we're here for. We're here for Transformation Live. And we're going to hear from the women who've transformed their body in a second. I want to sort of, and many of you that are joining live have took part in the transformation challenge, and you have actually transformed your body. We're just going to be talking to the winners, but many of you, we do feature you on social media. You actually have had amazing success as well. Some people I felt actually deserved to be winners, but they were in a very, very great cohort of women, and it was really hard to choose. So some of you've gone off with the best prize that you could possibly imagine, which was transforming your body. A bit about me. I'm not going to talk about this for too long because I want this to be about you, but you might be new to me and you might sort of think, well, what qualifies you, Melissa, to talk about this? Talk about helping women who are over 40 and menopausal get in fantastic shape. The reason being is I went on my own journey, and you can see on the left-hand picture, I wasn't in the shape that I'm now. I was not happy. I was depressed. I was drinking too much alcohol. I was doing tons of running. In that picture, I was doing tons of running. I was doing all the wrong things that I talk about. So when I talk about doing the wrong things, sometimes I get a bit of hate. And people say to me, well, I love running. It really works. And that's great if it really works for you. But it didn't work for me. I actually ended up getting more and more heavy, more and more body fat with running when I hit my 40s. It worked beautifully well. I tried intermittent fasting. That didn't work because I wasn't getting in enough protein when I was doing intermittent fasting. And so what I found is I spent 2.5 years of failing. And so I started up my YouTube channel when I found success. And I started to find success on my own. And then I decided I wanted to enter sort of competitions and get up on stage in a sparkly bikini. And when I did that, I realized I had an epiphany on what worked. And so I wanted to share it with other women. That started in 2019 with my YouTube channel. And then I went on to developing my own programs. In 2020, I started selling something called the 6-week shred, which I made that from my own living room. It had a meal plan, it had a workout. And I started selling that. And that really worked for women. I was getting great feedback. And now I sell lots of other programs. I've seen 10,000 women through my programs. I've seen 10,000 women have success. I've coached hundreds of women. And so that's what qualifies me. So my vision for you, just to let you know, is for every woman over 40 to be in the best shape and look and feel great, or at least understand how to do that. And I know many of you now let me know. You say, I really understand the 2 key elements that we're going to talk about today, which is getting your protein in and lifting weights. Or it could be, you know, I'm out here now without a gym. It might not be without a gym for a few days, actually. It might not be lifting weights. It might actually be doing strength training with something like resistance bands or body weight exercise. So it doesn't have to be lifting weights. So I've got to be careful now that I don't reveal the sort of winner yet. So I'm actually going to stop sharing there, and we'll just go back to me. So we're gonna now talk to the women, and I'm going to sort of do it in chronological order. If I can actually get my yes, I can get my. So we're going to talk to somebody called Cristen Mendes. And Cristen Mendes was the first person, and I'm actually, before I get her on camera, I'm going to sort of show her transformation. I didn't want to sort of get the slides up too early to sort of reveal anything that I don't want to reveal. So I had to sort of stop sharing screen. So I'll share the screen again so you can see Cristen in her full glory. Right, so just bear with me 1 second. So I'm still feeling my way around the technology, and you know, I don't know what about you, but being over 40 and working technology can actually be a little bit of a challenge. So here's Cristen. This was her amazing transformation, which we revealed back in September. So she started in August. So I'm actually just going to get her live now to talk to you guys, because Cristen was one of our amazing competitors. We had lots of amazing competitors. Good evening, Cristen. How
Hi.
have you been doing?
I've been doing pretty good. I've been doing great. How have you been doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
And there's a few sort of people are saying, nice, 8 weeks. And I promise you, this really was in 8 weeks. I mean, we didn't, what we do, just to let people know out there, is you have to take a photo at the start, and they hold up a printout, which I didn't show you. Because if I show you the photo of the printout, it doesn't show people in their full glory. They have to give their driver's license or their passports. They have to prove their age. And they have to hold out one of our special printouts at the start and a printout at the end. And so it really was 8 weeks, wasn't it, Cristen? And how did you feel about it? How did you feel about taking part?
Oh, it was life-changing. You know, we spoke on this when we met last time. Like I said, I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to take photos. And I just went out actually for New Year's Eve for the first time in 6 years last night. So, you know, I tore my closet apart. I was trying on all my old clothes, fitting and everything again. It brought me and my husband closer together. You know, when you feel like your self-esteem is taking a hit or you're not at your best, it just really takes a toll on your relationship. So that definitely brought us close together. And then he worked out with me as well, and he would eat the meals with me. We really enjoyed those. And the kids noticed my energy levels too. The energy to me was a really huge part of it because I have anxiety. So during like lunch times, I could feel myself getting dizzy. I don't know if it's a blood sugar thing. And then I would get anxious. And when I was on the meal plan, it didn't happen one time, and it hasn't happened. So when I would eat better, I just felt a lot better. And the exercise too, I felt so much better. So that was extremely helpful. So yeah, it has been really life changing. And I felt like the program was just such a good kickstart. I felt like having that healthy competition and putting your own money on the line and having a chance to win something as well. There's a wonderful support group of women. I just thought that was like the only way I was going to get it done. So it was just the motivation that I needed. So at first I was like a little skeptical because it was so much food, and but it worked. It was 8 weeks. It blew me away. I know since then, I did get sick, and I kind of, had a hard time going back to work out. So I was like, I don't want to do that again. I want to stay focused. This is a lifelong journey. So I did decide to do the lifetime membership to the Strong Women's Club. So that's what I'm doing now. And so far it's just been, I don't know, I just feel better. I look so much better too. It's just done a lot for my life.
So how did it feel going out on New Year's Eve then in this new outfit or old outfit that you got from the back of the closet?
It felt really good. It had been such a long time, and I just felt, I don't want to say a different person. It's still me, but I just felt so confident. I felt good just being around everybody, and I just felt the energy. I didn't want to go right to bed. So it felt so good to just be able to see everybody and be able to celebrate again. It's been a really long time.
Well done to you. I mean, we were absolutely blown away, myself and my team, by your transformation, and also kind of how you felt about it, talking about, your better relationships, because that's one of the things that people perhaps don't realize. And I know I see lots of comments on YouTube. It actually impacts on your whole life, doesn't it? So it's not just the visual, because you kind of get your confidence back, and you find that it might not be just your romantic relationship. It might be just generally your relationships with people. I know that's the same for me, are a lot better. So you've been a real inspiration. Would there be any advice that you give to anyone that's like, maybe they're thinking about taking part in this next transformation, which starts next Monday? Next transformation challenge. Have you got any advice?
Yes, definitely trust the process. I know that there were others as well as myself, because at first you don't really lose right away. You do gain muscle though, and I noticed that immediately. But I definitely say trust the process, because it was at the very end when really the weight loss took place, and it was a huge transformation, and just those last 2 weeks alone. I would say definitely stay in the app with the group chat. I just felt like checking in every single day, talking to other people. We're all just kind of helping each other and just staying focused and motivated and getting tips. I know there were a lot of us who had injuries. I had a shoulder injury. I know a lot of people had like knee issues. I also had knee issues too. So that would be my next tip is definitely stay in the community, trust the process. It does work.
And just to sort of mention to people, that's really good advice, and especially about the injuries. No one's going to feel perfect. I don't feel perfect. I've just recorded one of my workouts that I did out at a gym here, and I kind of like, I felt like my back's a bit sticky at the moment, so I go easy on that. You're never going to feel perfect. Now, obviously, you don't want to push through something that is a particular niggle for you. So you want to always sort of you want to do what I always say to people with lifting weights is go as heavy as you possibly can without causing injury and keeping your form. So for some people that are starting the challenge, you might be a beginner and you don't normally do squats. So you do squats without weight when you're first starting out. So you keep within a certain boundary that isn't going to sort of cause further injury, but you can do something. Normally everybody can do something, and focus on what you can do rather than what you can't do, which is what I'm sure you did, Cristen. But it's never going to be a good time. So if you're waiting for that perfect time, I'm waiting for that perfect time where I feel absolutely 100%. I don't think it's ever going to happen. And many of the women, I remember there was a lady, she was called Joanna. She took part, and her back was really troublesome when she first started, and she actually improved it. And most people will find, as long as they're not doing anything silly, they will improve themselves. I think that's really good advice, Cristen, and trusting the process. Trusting the process is, I get a lot of people, perhaps if they haven't done my programs, they're just looking at my videos and they don't trust it because they think, I can't eat all that food. They watch something where they see what I eat all through the day. And they just think, well, how can she be that size and eat all that? That can't be right. You know, it looks like a massive amount of food. But you shouldn't really feel starving. Maybe towards the end, you know, the calories do go down. I know somebody was asking a bit about calories. You know, they're probably, it's sort of ballpark about 1,500 calories. So you're mainly going to be satisfied towards the end, because towards the end, the sort of activity levels go up, the calories drop a little bit. It's going to feel, you may feel a little bit more hungry, but certainly at the start, you shouldn't feel hungry. And so that doesn't feel quite right. And so you have to sort of learn to trust the process, don't you, Cristen? But thank you so much to talk. You're going to find out in the next sort of 15 minutes whether you've been the winner of the $20,000 prize. So I'm really excited about that. We would have given around $80,000 since we started that. And I absolutely love giving this money away because I know it really, really, it's going to, you know, it's going to be a life-changing amount of money, perhaps for some people in this, you know, but it's not, I would think you would agree, Cristen, it's not necessarily about the money, is it? It's about the recognition and having that amazing new body, isn't it?
Yes, that was the best. Yes, everything, the outcome, it was so worth it. I'm so glad I invested my time.
Well, thank you very much, Cristen. And I'm now going to move on to, I've got to think about this, the September challenge winner, but it was amazing to talk to you. So our next winner was absolutely amazing and a real, sorry, I'll let you go there, Cristen. I'm still getting used to the technology here. So the next person, and I'm going to share the screen again, was really an incredible transformation, but it was an incredible transformation on the inside and out. That was the thing about this lady called Ebony McIntosh. And I was so sort of delighted to be able to give this away. And it's probably best for me to let Ebony speak to her about this herself. But as a bit of background, she's been through an enormous amount of trauma. And I want to let you know, when we're judging this, we don't just look at the pictures. All the ladies submit a video to go with their you know, pictures. And in the video, we look at the video, we watch the video to see what kind of transformation they've made, how it's impacted on their life. And with Ebony, it's fair to say, you know, it had a massive impact on her life. She started her transformation well before she came on board with me. So I'm going to get Ebony on now, and we're going to sort of hear from Ebony because she's just an amazing, inspirational lady. And I was so privileged to be able to meet her. Hello, Ebony, and welcome, and Happy New Year.
Hi, Melissa. Happy New Year. How are you?
Oh, I'm absolutely fantastic. And it's great to have you here. It's great to have all these sort of 2024 winners with me. And, you know, you sort of stood out in my mind to somebody. You're probably going to be able to help lots of other people. Can you tell us a bit about your story? Because it is absolutely incredible.
Sure. So for me, this challenge was a little different than just like going into see a physical transformation. This actually was the last stage to what was healing for me. So in short, I had been a very healthy and active, great energy, bubbly person most of my life. I was very big into fitness and working out and just staying in shape. And then a series of events happened to me from like 2020 to from about 2019 to about 2022 that left me in a complete clinical depression for the first time ever. In that short time, I lost my home. I was robbed out of all of my pension money. Friends and I lost about $40,000. I had to file bankruptcy, unbeknownst to my family and many people. I was also in a long-term relationship, and after like 7 years of being with this person, I found that his identity was made up. So like all of this happened in this short span, and I completely like collapsed. I had a whole mental breakdown, and as a result of that depression, I basically developed a poor relationship with eating, and I started to overeat, and I ate myself basically 60 pounds overweight. And so before I decided to take on this challenge, I wanted to heal from an intrinsic place, because I knew that the damage had affected me intrinsically, and I didn't want a superficial healing process. I didn't want to just work out and get back in shape and appear to be in a good mental space, but internally things were not working. I knew that if I started internally, the externally would be a default of the work done internally. So I spent the year doing shadow work, therapy and all these different things. And then finally I decided, okay, I think now that internally I'm doing okay, I'm ready to let the external be a manifestation of the work I've done internally.
That is absolutely fantastic. So I think it would be really reassuring for people to hear where you come from, because I think sometimes when you're in that situation, you can really feel there's a real struggle to get out of it, isn't it? And I know sort of when I talk to women, maybe they got 60 pounds to lose, maybe they got 100 pounds to lose, and they're feeling mentally really not in a space where they can do that. And a lot of a lot of the time, not for everybody here, because sometimes everybody here, you've gained 20, you can gain 20 or 30 pounds just by going through menopause and not doing anything different. But when you've eaten your way into it, it really feels difficult, doesn't it, to try and change your life to get out of it. And I know you're really particularly healthy now, aren't you? And you come from a background where you sort of understand how to be healthy. So it was changing your mindset is probably the biggest struggle, isn't it? Changing your mindset. Have you got any tips for anyone that's in that sort of place where you were?
Yeah, a few things. As far as the challenge itself, I'm gonna agree with Kristen. Definitely trust the process. Like her, when I was in my challenge, I didn't see any results initially, and I remember like actually panicking about it because I followed the meal plan to the T. I mean, literally, like even down to eating cheese. And everybody knows I absolutely hate cheese, but I'm a firm believer that a lot of times we don't get the results we want in life in general because a plan could be laid out and we deviate from it and then get confused about why the results don't match the plan when technically we didn't follow the plan. So I was determined to be disciplined, because discipline is about doing sometimes what's uncomfortable to get what you desire. And so that was a moment for me having to eat cheese. I was like, oh my God, this is horrible, but I did it. So definitely trust the process. And as far as your program goes, it made it so easy to follow. It was still challenging, obviously, especially after being sedentary for so long. And, like I think I told you, I had been trying a bunch of crash workouts, so this wasn't my first rodeo, but the problem was that I kept trying to work out like I was still 25 and 32, not realizing I'm now 40. I'm dealing with a different body structure because I'm completely overweight. So you can't just jump in lifting these amount of pounds and, acting like you're a Spartan person. It was very funny. So when I came across your challenge, it was the first time I seen something geared towards women 40 and over. And the thing I said was, the worst thing that could happen is I try it and crash again, and I'll move on to something else. And so that's one thing. But the other thing too is try if anybody's going through something like what I went through, try to find the space to heal internally first. It really takes away half the battle for all the things that follow. There's a saying like, follow the mind, the body will follow. It is exactly true. And it's how I not only got through this challenge, but even got to the point of wanting to do it. I don't think I would have done it, wanted, or anything if I still was kind of mentally, depressed and wanted to fix outside but leave inside broken. So that's the advice I would give.
I was really impressed when you put your video in and you talked about that, because I think many people, including me, I sort of went the reverse and I fixed the outside first. But if you haven't fixed what's going on inside, you're probably not going to see success in the end, are you? Because you haven't fixed what's going. I think it's a bit like people that take weight loss drugs. They're sort of papering over the cracks. And I'm not against weight loss drugs, but I think if you haven't fixed what's going on, why you're over consuming food, for example, and for some people it's something different. Some people, it could be that they're not, not taking part in exercise, being too sedentary, whatever it is. If you haven't fixed what's going on inside, it's just going to resurface itself later on, isn't it? So I was really impressed when you talked about that, because I thought that's something that we do try to teach women. I know you're part of this. We've got a Strong Women Club. So we have a mindset coach coming in called Hema Patel. She comes in regularly and she does actually work with women one-to-one if they need it as well. Not on my program, but she can work with women. Maybe you need therapy or something like that, which I know that's the route you went down, didn't you, Ebony? So maybe you need therapy. We actually have a hypnosis person that comes in as well to help women control their eating. Because sometimes it's like, oh, I want that sugary snack in the afternoon and I just can't control it, which is also a bit of a menopause body response. So I was really impressed that you took that route of working on the inside. And I just think that is just a fantastic piece of advice, Ebony. So you're going to hang on in there with us, aren't you, to wait to find out if you've won that $20,000. And we thank you so much for sharing your journey. All of these women actually on YouTube, including Ebony, we've done like a full video on them as well. So if you want to watch, if you're thinking, well, I want to know more about Ebony, do watch the video, because that is also really inspiring. I'll get Abby to share that in the chat. Don't watch it now, because we got to talk to more women, but you can sort of save it for later. We got more women to talk to. So we got 2 more women to talk to, and then we're going to announce the winner of the grand prize. So thank you very much, Ebony, and Happy New Year to you. And we're now going to speak to Amira. Before we do that, I'm just going to share Amira's transformation. All of these are really different, by the way. There's no one that's the same, which I absolutely love. So this is Amira Durham, and we've got her here live with us. She sort of won the October Transformation Challenge. So she bagged herself $2,000 and a banging new body, which was absolutely incredible. She did so well. Just as a reminder, this is in 8 weeks. So I know we see, I'm not the only one that runs these challenges. There's not many that actually do these for women over 40, but you'll often see them and they're like 6 months, 3 months. But I wanted to make our challenge something that you don't lose interest and start to get, it's taking too long. But you can do something that's like in quite a short space of time, because it takes around 60 days to form a habit. And then, you know, we're going to talk about this, but you probably want to move to something that's a bit more sustainable in the long term, that's not quite so extreme, that may not take up so much of your time, and you can be a bit more flexible about food in the long term. And we're going to talk about, when we've announced our winner, we're going to talk about how to make this into something a bit more long term. So we've seen Amira's, that's not all of Amira's pictures, but we've seen Amira's sort of amazing transformation. So we're now going to hear from the amazing Amira now. Hello, Amira. Happy New Year and good evening to you. And thank you for joining us live on New Year's Day.
Hi, thank you. Happy New Year. Thank you for having me. And thank you so much for this challenge. I absolutely love how my body looks. I get excited seeing that before and after picture of myself. So I thank you so much. And hi, everybody. And congratulations to Ebony and Cristen. You guys both look amazing. I have to admit, Cristen, seeing her before and after was part of the reason why I hit that button and said, I'm joining, because I really want to see what my body can do. So it's been amazing. And I love what you were saying about, you know, being able to sustain for the long term, because I know me and some of the ladies in the chat, when I joined the challenge, you were saying, hey, we're going to do this. And this is my attempt to get my body right and get on this, you know, get on the right track. And really, you know, I don't want to go back after this. I really want to make this a long-term, lifelong commitment. And I really thank you so much for all your hard work in putting this together for us, because it's really been life-changing. Thank you, Melissa.
Well, that is an absolute pleasure. I take a great deal of pleasure from this, Amira. I can't tell you how, you know, being able to change people's lives like this is a real privilege and a real honor. And it's you guys that have to sort of put in the hard work. I know, because I've done these workouts myself. I don't give anyone anything that I wouldn't do myself. So I've done them at home. I've done them at the gym, because I spent, I think it was about 1.5 years working out at home personally myself. So probably a lot of people see my content and think, oh, she's never done these home workouts. I can tell you I have, and they're really tough. Because one of the things is, when you work out from home, is I find it mentally really tough, because often you've only got like a few sets of dumbbells or something like that. And so, and you haven't got other people around you to sort of generate that momentum. So I know working out at home is great when you're a mom and you're working full time and you've got like a lot of commitments. But on the other hand, I know it can be really challenging. And then when you're doing the dreaded 10 sets of 10, the 10 sets of 10 that are in that, I get people messaging me when they join. Is this a mistake? Is it a typo? And they're like, and I'm like, no, it's called German volume training. I have actually made a video that goes in the app, but not everybody watches it. And they're like, it's 10 sets of 10. I did 10 sets of 10 for years. And then if I go anywhere where there's not much equipment, then I do 10 sets of 10, because I know it really works, German volume training. But it's really tough. So, you know, congratulations to you. And I wanted to talk about food a little bit, Amira, because I know you actually, just to give people a bit of background, you've been following me for a bit and you were following my process, and you did have some success, didn't you? Tell us about that.
Yeah. I started following you a little over 1 year ago now. And so much of what you said just makes so much sense. And really, when you start talking about trying to increase your protein and cut back on things, and cut back on sugar, and cut back on some of those things that I know I love, but you know really aren't good for me. But specifically, like I said, cutting back that sugar and increase that protein just on my own, doing those things, I was able to really lose about 20 pounds on my own. But I got to that point that I hit this plateau, and it's like I'm at like about 150 pounds is my plateau in my mind. And I'm just like, you know what? I just, most of my life, I've just been like, that's where I'm going to be stuck. That's where I'm going to be stuck. And like I said, when I saw, everybody seeing these amazing results after 8 weeks, I'm like, what do I have to lose? Just try it and see if this is what makes the difference. And following your meal plans and following, your advice on how to eat healthy and how to eat for women our age, because it is different. It's not like when I was in my 20s and I could go to Taco Bell and I could, go out till, 3 in the morning and, go work out, and just burn it all off. It just wasn't the same, now, I eat, a couple of cookies and I feel it for 3 days. and that's something I really noticed was when you really start to eat better, when you increase that protein, you still have a lot of energy. I wasn't starving. I love that. I was a little bit nervous about, not having enough food or not being able to eat enough, because I am somebody who likes to eat a lot of food at a time. But I just following your plan, and it was more than enough food. I was surprised at how much 110 grams of meat was. It's like I didn't even realize, like, that's a lot of meat. That was a lot of food that I'm taking in, and I'm not depriving myself of anything. I still feel very satisfied. And you even had desserts on there for us. Like, thank you, because that's my weakness. And we even have little, treats that we could have throughout the program. So it was, like I think Ebony said, it was so easy to follow. It wasn't very intimidating at all. If you're thinking about it and you're hesitating, my advice would be to, check out Melissa's check out Melissa's page, check out her channel, listen to everything she's talking about. Just start today if you have to, and just try it and get on the program as soon as it's available, because it really does make a huge difference. Just having somebody there to lead you along the way, and who knows what it feels like to kind of have that struggle. So
yeah,
definitely.
and it doesn't matter, does it, what shape or size you are? I mean, you could be somebody, I have some women through that might be like 120 pounds and they want to lose some body fat, but maybe you're 200 pounds. You've got it's the same method for everyone, because I think some people think if they're on the heavier side, I can't lift the weights because I've got to lose the weight first. But you're lifting the weights and eating the high protein to lose the body fat. That's kind of how it works. So you're doing a little bit of both. You're putting on muscle, which is going to help your body burn more fat, and you're also losing body fat all at the same time. And that's what I discovered for myself that really worked when I was kind of transforming my body. I kept thinking, what I need to do is tons of cardio and starve myself. And it didn't work. So I just still hung on to belly fat. And you can see, I hope you don't mind me saying, Amira, that in the pictures, your belly fat just completely gone, hasn't it? How do you feel about that?
Amazing. I have to confess, part of the reason why I also really wanted to go on this transformation was I had noticed that my belly fat was just out of control. I had noticed, I'm moving around the kitchen. I'm like, why can I feel the counter on my stomach? It was just things I was not used to. And I'm like, I'm not used to feeling this much excess belly fat, even though, I don't have the best habits. And that definitely, and just having my 5-year-old, grab me and say, "Hey, mommy, what's this?" I was like, I hadn't had enough of that feeling. And it just feels so much better to just not have that, and be able to put on my jeans and feel like, it's gone. It feels amazing.
You look absolutely amazing, and it's really inspiring to me. It's really inspiring to other women in such a short space of time. Just to remind people, this is just in 8 weeks. In 8 weeks, because I think people sort of feel, I haven't got the patience to do something for 6 months and 12 months. Of course, you do need to do it for 6 months and 12 months. You do need to do something for the rest of your life. The 8-week challenge is quite extreme, and you can move on to something that's much more sustainable after that. So it means you can incorporate meals out, traveling, whatever it is. But, you know, you will find that, you know, it is something that you can sort of carry on with the similar method for the rest of your life now, Amira, just to let you know. I don't know, how have you been finding things since the challenge?
Good. I enjoyed the food so much. I've just been incorporating different meals just into my everyday. And my parents are in town for the holidays. So my mom is actually vegan. So I've been trying a lot of meals with her. It was the last couple of years when she would come into town, I would always like kind of struggle to kind of like, you know, what do I feed her? What do I fix for her? And now it's like, oh, we eat together. I've been sharing these recipes with her and she absolutely loves them. So it's really been, I think the 8 weeks is a great way to build up a good habit. And that kind of habit has really been able to kind of stick with me. And you know, I had actually went ahead and purchased, because it was the Black Friday, I had purchased the 12-week and a 6-week plan. So I had planned to just go through those. But I have now having access to the Strong Women's Club. I've been following a lot of those plans and stuff too, and doing the exercises. So really, I've just kind of, like I said, that 8 weeks has just gotten a habit out of me. And I'm addicted to getting up, work out in the morning, and just knowing, like, you know, watch your macros, watch what you're eating. You know, I don't have a problem kind of avoiding the sweets, you know, throughout the day, and maybe just give myself a treat at the end of the day. It really, like, that plan really helped, like, set the mindset, set the tone, and set the pace for me.
That is absolutely fantastic. Well done to you, Amira. And we're going to find out,
Thank
aren't we,
you.
what, you know, whether you've been the winner of the grand prize of $20,000 very, very shortly after we've announced the sort of winner of the November challenge as well. And it's really good that you've mentioned about being vegan, because I do get some resistance from people that are vegans and sometimes vegetarians, and they say, oh, I can't do the high protein eating because I'm vegan. But you absolutely can do it. And we have, across all our programs, vegans are catered for, and you absolutely you can do it. You just have to think about how you eat in a slightly different way than a meat eater or a fish eater, but we do that for you, so it's not difficult. So you've got like your beans, your tofu, you've even got things like nutritional yeast, which you can sprinkle on and add into things that, you know, will just bump the protein up. So there are ways of incorporating veganism without, you know, compromising on your protein intake. So it's really good you mentioned, and great that you're cooking for your mom as well, and she's enjoying the recipes.
Yeah,
Well,
she loves it. I keep sharing it with her, so she might be on your plan next.
Oh, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Amira. And
Thank you so much.
know, you're an inspiration to everybody. So thank you very much for, you know, taking part, and congratulations to you for winning the $2,000. So we're now going to hear from, this is actually new information. We haven't heard from the person that actually won the November challenge. Now, I have to say, with the November challenge, if I can just talk about this, if you might not have been here at the start, the November challenge started on the 1st of November, or around about that, the first Monday in November. And they had to deal with Thanksgiving. They had to deal with Christmas as well. And they had to deal with the holiday season. So everyone, if you're here and you did take part in the November challenge, congratulations to you, because I know that was just to do that during that time and sort of stick to eating well, stick to everything with all the challenges you've got at that time of year. It's also a really busy time of year for lots of people, isn't it? And so, you know, I'm really proud of you. I went through each and every one of those submissions, as I do with all of them. And we also have 2 other people in my team judging it. They're actually here today, which is Abigail, who's been answering questions, and Priscilla, who's been answering questions. they judged this with me, and we were absolutely blown away by all of the submissions, all of them, all over 2024. It's actually surpassed our wildest dreams, what women achieved in 8 weeks, and how much discipline you have to do that, to kind of say no to that cake. Say no. If you go, do you work in an office? Let me know in the comments. When I worked in an office, I found that every day was a challenge because it was piled high with sweet treats. And just like Amira, I've got like a bit of a sweet tooth. This is why I put some desserts in my meal plans, because I've got a bit of a sweet tooth. And every day someone would offer me something that wasn't helpful to reach my goal. But it was particularly difficult for the women in the November challenge, because at Christmas time, so anywhere from mid-November leading on, to December, it's really difficult. Cindy says, yes, people bring all kinds of goodies. I don't call them goodies. I call them something else. But, you just sort of think it's just so hard, isn't it? Because you've got to have, I remember they used to say to me in the office, you have a will of iron, Melissa, because I just had to say no to everything if I wanted to achieve my goal. And so I'm just going to share now our sort of drum roll, please. Gina Thomas. Gina Thomas is the same age as me. She is our winner for November. So as I said, she did particularly well given the circumstances. And of course, everybody had the circumstances. This is Gina's transformation. Gina is the same age as me. She is 57 years old. So please sort of congratulate Gina. She's probably one of the ladies that are on the older end. I hope she doesn't mind me saying, because I'm the same age, the older end of the scale. And so, when you're post-menopause, it's really like the difference between being 57 and 40 is huge. It's massive. Gina's probably going to tell us now. I can tell you, because I'm that age, it's like if I even look at a cookie, I'm going to gain weight. That's what it feels like sometimes. So I'm going to sort of stop sharing there and then ask Gina to join us. And well done, congratulations!
Thank you. Yes,
on yourself $2,000. How do you feel? You knew about this, because to get you on the live, we had to sort of tell you beforehand.
Yeah.
So you're not sort of crying and upset like sometimes.
Oh no, I cried. I cried when I got the phone call, and I'm good now.
Yeah. So how do you feel?
I can't even describe how amazing I feel. I feel like a brand new person. First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. I've been following you for a few years, and I have to say that I have a hard time following through with things. So I followed this through from beginning to end. So I'm super proud of myself. My family's proud of me, my kids, my husband, everybody. And that just makes it a huge motivator to keep going. But when I took my before photos and put them with my after photos, I just I didn't realize what I looked like, how my body had changed. And my before photos actually showed a time where I was actively trying to stay fit. I was trying to stay healthy, trying to keep up with workouts, and it absolutely wasn't working. I wasn't looking the way I wanted to. And it was hard to find information that related to me, my age, and having gone through menopause, and the information out there just wasn't for me. And at this stage in life. So when I came across your channel a few years back, I was really excited because we are the same age, and I knew that you were going through or had gone through the same things that I was going through. And so I've been following you for a while, and when I saw this challenge come up, I was absolutely sure I was going to do it. So I'm I'm very excited about it. And I was really astonished with my after photos, and just, I feel so giddy. I feel like a kid. I'm super proud of myself.
It is one of the reasons, just to let people know, with the challenge, people say they write to us going, how do you know what people's weight is before and after? People sometimes tell us because, as I mentioned before, Gina, she had to submit a video. You did an excellent video, by the way, telling us how they've transformed. And sometimes they talk about their weight, but we don't ask for that. What we look at is pictures. And it's something that I've been trying to sort of get the point across for years. It's like, don't really worry about the scale. Look at what's happening in the pictures, because often you will find when you put on muscle, you may not, the scale may not reflect. And in fact, some people of a certain weight, if they haven't actually got that much weight to lose, they might stay the same. They might stay the same weight, but their transformation is absolutely incredible. And that's what, that many women can find that. So then this is why what we wanted to do was introduce a program where you take pictures at the start and you take pictures at the end, because then you can feel, right, I've really made a difference. And one of the things is, especially when people say to you, well, what have you been doing? You look different. Have you lost weight? You can guarantee then that it's absolutely all working. But often women, if they've done one of my other programs, they can question themselves because they're hopping on the scales. And by the way, if you're hopping on the scales every day, you want to stop that. I would say only get on the scale maximum once a week, maybe every other week, maybe once a month is all that you need to do, if at all. You might even want to ditch the scale if the scale's a problem for people. I would say just ditch the scale, because it can make you feel quite bad, but pictures make you feel amazing. And you looked amazing, Gina. I didn't show all of your pictures, but all the way through the pictures you looked amazing. So can you just talk us through how you managed the challenge of getting through this holiday season, doing that challenge?
So it was not easy, but, and I still cooked for everybody, all the favorite things that they loved, but I had my meals prepared. And so as the host, which I usually am during the holidays, I had already eaten before anybody got there. So I wasn't hungry. So I wasn't tempted. And I just spent my time serving and taking care of everybody around me. And that's how I got through it without being tempted too much. I will say that I did take a bite of some of the baked goods that my kids made for me, but I absolutely didn't go off the rails, and I just kept hydrated through the night, and it helped, and that's how I got through it.
Well done to you. That is a massive achievement, not only with your transformation, but to do it through the holiday season. And that's a really good tip that we often give to people, is take a bite. If you know, we actually did some live events where we were teaching women on our Strong Women Club, who, if with Strong Women Club, just to let people know, we're going to talk about how you can take part in the challenge later on and give details. But there is premium access, which actually gives you 6 months access to Strong Women Club. And in Strong Women Club, we do a whole kind of, we've done a couple of events where we talk about how to handle the holidays, because it's a massive thing, isn't it? That can often mean you've gained like 10, 20 pounds really easily if you don't watch out. And so one of the pieces of advice we give people, well, this is Priscilla's actually thing, is she says, take 3 spoonfuls. So actually you did 1, but 1 to 3. And then that just satisfies that sort of urge of whatever it is, pumpkin pie. In my case, we have something called Christmas pudding in the UK. which is like a sort of fruit cake. It's like a fruit cake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we'll just have one. If you're, you know, I'm in the lucky position that I'm just on maintenance. So I can probably have a small slice, but somebody that's trying to sort of lose some body fat,
Mm-hmm.
you want 1 spoonful, 1 to 3 spoonfuls, and that's it. So that's a really good piece of advice. And, you know, what I loved about you as well is you sort of it did sort of impact on the rest of your life as well. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that, Gina?
Well, so in the beginning, like I said, when I looked at my before photos, and I was really trying to be fit during that time, and it clearly wasn't working. And it's very discouraging because those things used to work. And so when I started through the program and started to feel the changes, I have to say, I have to share with you, the weight before and the weight after was only probably about 5 pounds difference. I didn't really lose any weight. And people were asking me, have you lost weight? And I would say no, but just the working out and the eating right, it made all the difference in the world. And I don't know, it just feels really good.
Well done to you, Gina. You've done absolutely amazing. And thank you for coming on live. You've won yourself $2,000.
Thank you.
That's like, I'm really proud of you, you know, in a competition with lots of other women taking part. And so, you know, all credit to you. And then you're going to find out really shortly whether you've been the sort of grand, you know, you've achieved the grand prize of $20,000. Every single one of you has been amazing. And it's really, really hard. I'm sure people would agree. I'm going to sort of go into the comments a minute after we've said, you know, a quick sort of goodbye to you, but just to see what people think of the transformations. But thank you very much, Gina, and thank you for joining live. And do stay with us to find out whether you've won that grand prize. And I hope that we can sort of keep in touch as well, and, you know, sort of keep in touch to update on where you're going with things as well.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch as well, so that we can get your details to transfer the money. That's the important things.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and good luck to everybody. And it was great.
Thank you, Gina. So what does everybody think about the transformations? I'd love to know. I'm just looking through the comments. Miss Kitty Catify says, I set a notification reminder on YouTube and Alexa fell asleep. Oh dear, sorry about that. So if you're sort of tuning in from Europe, it is quite late, isn't it? So thank you very much. If any of you have stayed up or sort of set your alarm to wake up later, I know we have people all over the world, but I'd love to know everyone's. So Grit Trader says, incredible. Elsie says they're all amazing. I do have a winner. We've deliberated amongst ourselves, and it's always really hard to choose someone because they're just different in they're all very different. I think you would agree, wouldn't you? And one of the things I wanted to get across about the transformation competition, it's not about who is the most lean and cut at the end of it. It's how much of a transformation they've made. That's really important. So you don't have to feel like at the end, I look like this stage competitor or whatever it is. None of them, look yet, but they might do in the future, look like a stage competitor. That's not what it's about. It's about how much of a transformation they've made. And it was so hard to choose anyone. And I know this sounds like a sort of real cliche, and there was like hundreds, actually thousands of women overall that took part in 2024 overall. And there were lots of amazing ones that didn't win any prizes. They didn't win any prizes, but you know, I featured them on social media because they were so good. So it's always a really, really hard job to sort of choose from everyone. But we have chosen a winner, and I am going to go to her now just for a quick word. Drum roll, please. There isn't a literal drum roll. It is Cristen Mendez. Well done, Cristen. I'm going to get you on again. How do you feel? So you've won $20,000. Well done to you.
Thank you so much. I'm at a loss for words right now. I'm trying to get my heart rate back down. I just want to say I'm so thankful for your program and just having this opportunity with all you ladies. The results were more than I could have hoped for already. So this is really thrilling. And it just feels like the hard work just paid off in so many ways. So thank you so much.
It really has. And you know, you're rich in your life, that you described going out on New Year's Eve for the first time in ages and being able to kind of wear the clothes that you want. You've also inspired lots of other people, including Amira, to join the program. And I'm really, really proud of you, proud of the work that you've put in, proud of the discipline. So well done to you. So my team will be in touch anyway to sort of organise your prize money, getting your prize money. My partner Ken's on, and he's saying, amazing, well done. All fantastic results. So he's been watching this very, very closely, as lots of men do, don't they? They're usually a bit silent in the background, aren't they? But they're like really, really interested as well. But congratulations to you, Cristen, and all the women. You all really deserve the $20,000, to be honest. And it's really hard to sort of choose between everyone. But, you know, really well done to you. I'll let you go now.
Thank you so much.
We're going to go on to talk about how you can. Thank you, Cristen. We're going to go on to talk about how you can sort of turn this into those of you that have been taking part in the 8-week transformation challenge. And this will apply to many of you anyway. You know, how you can sort of kind of make this into something more sustainable in the long term, because it takes 60 days to form a habit. And you want to be able to, you know, turn this into something long term. Maybe I'll put this up because it's a bit hard to see that with me kind of lower down. So I would say, you know, for those of you that took part, you're going to get an email from us with a really fantastic opportunity to work with our certified menopause coaches. And that's Priscilla and Amy, which is not a very brilliant picture there that I took a screenshot from our website quickly yesterday. So they're both certified menopause weight loss coaches. I'm very proud of that, and proud of Priscilla in particular, because she passed that recently. And Priscilla has 3 children under 7, and she works full time for me. So to do this qualification, and she's already been coaching lots of women on my program. Or maybe that's not affordable for you. So I talked about the Strong Women Club. You know, that's another way of turning that into something more sustainable, which is like, it's a $69 a month membership program, which is really, you know, I'm not going to go into what it includes, but it includes everything you need to make this into sort of long-term sustainable success, including weekly live calls with coaches and experts, you know, that we do to support you. If you actually signed up for my premium package on the 8-week challenge, that would be included anyway. And what I would say to you, so I'll stop sort of sharing the screen there. But what I would say to you, to turn this into long-term success, you'd want to be doing something less extreme. So I encourage people not to keep doing more and more 8-week challenges. That can be really tempting. The only people that I would say that's for you is maybe if you took part in the 8-week challenge and you didn't do it, or you had to stop it because you were injured or sick, so you couldn't complete it, then do it. But it's really important to move on to something that's sustainable, where you can build in traveling around, eating out, maybe not working out for as long as you do on the 8-week challenge, and taking your calories a bit higher. So that's really important, because then you can do it for months on end, for 6 months, for 12 months, for the rest of your life. And that's what you're trying to achieve. You're trying to achieve something that's sustainable for the rest of your life. So sometimes, you know, I have a program that's 6 weeks as well. We want to do something where we see some sort of short-term success, where it's a bit more extreme. You have to stick very rigidly to an eating plan and a working out plan. And then you want something, which is something that I do really now, for the rest of your life, which you can build in some flexibility. And that means you can kind of keep, you know, once you've got to your goal body shape, you can keep that for the rest of your life, and you're not like yo-yoing around. So that's really, you know, a short bit of advice for, you know, keeping this going for the long term, is taking your calories a little bit higher, you know, maybe not working out for as long as you were on the 8-week challenge. We can offer private coaching calls, or something like the Strong Women Club. Those of you that join the challenge in November, you'll be getting an email from me, and you know, it's a special offer on the private coaching calls. If you're interested in private coaching calls with my certified menopause coaches, that is also available on the website. I will ask Abby or Priscilla to put that in the chat as well. If you feel like you're watching this and you think, oh yeah, I want more support, and I want to like work with someone and have like that one-to-one experience, you know, I'll ask Priscilla to put that in the chat. That is actually also available as part of the 8-week challenge, which I'm going to be talking about a little bit later on. But now we're actually going to talk about, which is something I promised this live was going to be about, as well as celebrating the success of the women on the 8-week challenge. And you guys can actually, if you want to leave the studio now, the women that were the winners, you're quite welcome to leave the studio if you want to do so now. We're going to sort of talk about how you can achieve this for yourself, transform your menopausal body in 2025. And we're going to talk about what's in and what's out, what's in 2025 and what's out. So without starving yourself. So we talked with those women, and they talked about, I wasn't hungry. I thought there was something wrong because I wasn't hungry. Without working out, you know, you get these supermodels and they go, I'm working out for 3 hours a day. Remember, we used to get that, I think it was in the noughties and the 90s. Some of these supermodels were working 3 hours a day, working out 3 hours a day. Well, if you work full time, you can't do that, can you? You want to be working out sort of 45 minutes to an hour, you know, maybe 4 times a week. And we're going to talk about that. But I'm going to ask you a question now. Which of these problems have you experienced? I'd love to know, and sort of put it in the chat. Have you experienced weight gain? So on average, women at this stage in life, you could have gained on average 20 to 25 pounds. That's the average, without doing anything different, without overeating, without stopping exercising. Have you experienced weight gain? I know I did. That's a picture of me experiencing weight gain in my 40s without doing anything more or less than I did in my 20s. We're doing the exact same things. Have you experienced menopause symptoms? You know, the hot flashes is the opposite one, but they're like more than 50 menopause symptoms, ranging from skin condition to loss of libido to feeling low, which is the next thing on the list, feeling depressed. I felt depressed. I felt really low. Do you lack confidence? Are you not feeling sexy anymore? What about, we call them holidays in the UK, vacations? I talk to women that say to me, I cannot go on vacation because I don't feel good about myself. Yes, so Dr. Kelly Elston says, I experience all the above. Not able to wear nice clothes. So we talked to Cristen Mendes, who's won herself $20,000 and she saved some money on clothes. She doesn't have to buy any clothes anymore because she can wear the clothes in the back of her closet. Rachel said problems with sleeping, that's massive at this stage in life. It's actually one of the first signs of perimenopause. Does anybody know how tall Melissa is? So yes, I'm 5'3". My kids actually mentioned to me, because I said, oh, I'm 5'4". And they said, no, you're not, Mum. In the UK, we say mum, M-U-M, and in the USA, you say mom. They said, no, you're not, Mum, or mummy. They said, it's like an Egyptian mummy. We call mummy. No, you're not, Mummy. You're 5'3". And they made me stand against the wall and measure me. And they told me I'm 5'3". But I used to be 5'4". I've shrunk. So everyone, as you get older, you shrink, don't you, unfortunately? So that's my height. And I think I'm about 53 kilos. I'm sort of hovering between 52 and 54 kilos. So that I think is about 115 pounds, something like that I am, 115, 118 pounds. But I don't really care how much I weigh. Nisi Holiday says, perimenopause, horrible inflammation, lifetime struggle with weight, fatigue. I don't enjoy pictures. Yeah, so this is one of the things when we do our challenge, is people have to take their pictures at the start. And that's really, really kind of, it's a bit sort of challenging in itself, isn't it, taking pictures? But we're not doing that because we want you to feel bad. It's because we want you to see the transformation. And even if you're not taking part in the transformation challenge, taking pictures is really important part of, if you sort of think, oh, I'm following Melissa on YouTube, I'm going to follow everything she says, take the pictures first so that you can see how you're doing through your journey. Elsie says, I'm fearing taking photos. Yeah, so I don't know whether anybody's here that's done the challenge can talk about the taking of the photos, but it's just a really important part of it that will really help you in the long term. We're not doing it because we're trying to be mean. You know, lack of confidence can be massive because everything that you've seen on 1 to 6 will cause lack of confidence. And one of the things I see when women have transformed themselves is they get their mojo back, they get their confidence back. Miss Kitty Catify says, yes, it's awful. I put on tons of weight in places I didn't dream of. Me too. It was all around my midsection. And even when I lost weight, because I lost weight in the wrong places initially, I just still retained a ton of belly fat around my midsection. So these are all things that you're going to, it's perfectly normal to experience during menopause, all of these things before, during, and after menopause. And what do you think is standing in your way of your dream body? Is it any of these? For me, it was definitely number one, not following the right process. I spent 2.5 years not following the right process. So I was doing these things. I was prioritizing myself. I was spending a lot of time on it. I was spending money on it. I was going through trainers that were giving me poor advice. I didn't have inconsistency or lack of discipline. I just wasn't following the right process. And it was really frustrating. And I don't want that to happen to you, but maybe some of those things I'd love to see. I'll read out some of the, Elsie says all of them, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I find lots of women that, we've just heard from Gina, who said she was lacking consistency and discipline. She hasn't followed anything before the 8-week challenge, and she's joined it and she's won it. So it just goes to show you it's possible, isn't it? If it's possible if you put your mind to it. And we're going to talk about mindset in a little bit, but 1 to 5, SH says. Yes, Dr. Kelly Elston says intermittent fasting wasn't working for me anymore. So intermittent fasting, it didn't work for me, and I did it for 1.5 years. I did lose weight though, weight on the scale, but losing weight is different from losing fat. What's the difference? Losing weight can mean you can lose water and you can lose muscle. So when I was doing intermittent fasting, I was losing muscle, and we can't afford to lose muscle when we get to a certain age. And I was going right down, I'm talking about 1 meal a day. I was going down to 1 meal a day and I was losing muscle. And so what happened is I retained belly fat, all the fat around my midsection, and I couldn't shift it. And when I sort of switched to a different protocol that we're going to talk about, and many of the women find that when they start following this process, either through the programs or generally following the process, they find the midsection, that's the first place they start losing body fat. And that's the difference between losing weight and losing fat, is you'll often find your midsection, if you start taking waist measurements, which is another thing that I recommend as well as taking pictures, is taking waist measurements. So, when you'll know that you're losing body fat, if you're losing, measurements, inches, centimeters from your waist. So not having time can be, people sort of can think, I haven't got time. In all honesty, I think it's about prioritization. Nobody's actually said that as far as I know. 4 and 6. Oh yes, Katrina says 4 and 6. So too tired is a thing, but I do promise you, so being in menopause, you can be extremely tired. It's really difficult to motivate yourself when you're extremely tired. But what I can promise you is when you start introducing the right kind of exercise and the right eating, your energy levels are going to increase. So one of the things I hear people report when they do one of my programs, whether it's the 8-week challenge or anything else, is they say, my energy levels have gone up. So if you're eating well and you're exercising, which can mean like walking, strength training and walking, that kind of thing, you actually find you have more energy. So it's probably for someone that's lacking in energy, it's starting off small, sort of committing to 3 times a week and building up from there, and maybe a 10-minute walk every day. And when you say time, I would say it's about prioritizing. So if you sort of think, well, I'm finding time, am I watching Netflix? Am I scrolling through social media and spending 30 minutes a day on one of those activities? You could have actually done a strength training workout in that time instead. So maybe for you, it's like, I mean, I had a job where I was commuting 3 hours a day. I talk about this a lot, and I was working full time. And I was doing all this exercise and prepping for a bikini show. And I had to prep all my food and cook family meals separately for my family. And so a lot of that is about prioritizing and time management, which I will talk about in a bit. So I'm not being patronizing when I say that, because I've actually been through this exact situation myself of having to carve out the time. So it really is about prioritization, and we'll sort of talk about those. But these are the main. What the slide before. Those are your problems. These are the things that are sort of standing in the way. So now I'm going to sort of talk about how you can kind of move on and get some of the things that you want to achieve. But these are the sort of things that are off limits for you in 2025. Maybe you've been doing the things and they've worked before, these things for you, but they're not working anymore. This is what's happened to those women that you saw earlier on that have won on the 8-week challenge. But all the women on the 8-week challenge, they've probably been doing some of these things. And I was doing them. It's diets. So, you know, we give people a meal plan. I don't describe them as diets. It's high protein eating. It's too much cardio. Those are going to be off limits. What you did in your younger days, if you're joining this and you're like, you're doing the things you did in your younger days and it's working, great. I have people that say to me, they leave comments on my social media and they say, they hate it that I'm anti-running. I'm not anti-running per se. I'm anti-endurance training for menopausal women. I don't like endurance training, because what happens if you do too much endurance training? So any kind of like intense cardio for over an hour. So, you know, if you're doing trainings for a half marathon, like, you know, I know young people that are doing it at the moment. Great. Absolutely fantastic. I've done that, a marathon or a half marathon. Great if you're young. If you're a woman at this stage in life, you're over 40, maybe you're perimenopausal, you're menopausal, or you're postmenopausal, you're going to lose a lot of muscle. And so what that's going to do is, firstly, it's going to screw your metabolism. So once you stop doing it, you're probably going to gain the weight back. It's going to be really hard on your joints. It's going to be really time consuming. And you're going to probably retain fat around your midsection like I did when I was doing it. And you're just not going to get rid of it. And it really worked well when I was young. But, you know, there will be some outliers occasionally that seems to work for them. But most women, it doesn't. And most women, when they stop doing, Cristen was one of them that we heard from that won the $20,000. She was doing tons of cardio. And that was her before pictures. And when she stopped doing cardio, she found that it really worked for her. So that's, you know, that's the thing. That's why I say it. It's not because I'm sort of I'm not really down on running. You know, I know people, I sponsor them. I'm sponsoring one of my family members. He's 19. He's going to be taking part in, and he's just recovering from leukemia, and he's going to be taking part in a marathon. Do I say to him, no, you shouldn't do that? I think it's absolutely wonderful. That's great for someone of his age and a massive achievement. But it just doesn't do us any favors when we get to a certain age. And then, you know, some of the diets, maybe you're doing a juicing diet, maybe you've tried ketogenic diet, but you found you did it and then you stopped it and you put the weight back on. The kind of eating that I do is the sustainable. So I've been out, when did I fly? I flew out on Christmas Day, and I've been away for 6 days. And I've made some video content. I think it's about 6 days. That's a bit more, isn't it? It's 7 days now, isn't it? It's actually a whole week. And, you know, I can sort of sustain this while I'm away. Even though I haven't got access to my own kitchen and I might be like eating meals out, I can eat high protein eating and still stay on track. I haven't gained body fat. I can sort of look at myself in the mirror and still think, yes, I look fine, because I can sustain this. It's not a diet. It's not an extreme diet. We have something called the Cambridge diet in the UK, which is shakes, a shake for breakfast, a shake for lunch, and then an evening meal. I wouldn't recommend something like that because it's not sustainable in the long term. So it's like you want to have an eating style. And we heard from Amira, who won the $2,000 on the 8-week challenge. She's cooking for her mom vegan food because she's got the recipe from my Strong Women Club. We got recipes we put in there every week, vegan, high protein recipes. You know, I'm out here in Asia. I can eat Asian food. Actually, Asian food's quite good for high protein eating. There's, you know, I had some sort of like prawn dish on New Year's Eve. We went out for a meal and it was a platter of raw fish and prawns. The prawns weren't raw because they're quite bad. You call them shrimp in the USA, don't you? But they were a platter. They were these sort of jumbo prawns and then raw fish. Absolutely on track with my eating. And a few slices, very small slices of bread. And, you know, I don't recommend white bread, but it was New Year's Eve, so I'm going to sort of have a little bit of that, and it's absolutely okay. So no label, just me says, think muscle building helps us, muscle burns fat. So women our age, I always find, and I was like this, we're a bit fearful of building muscle, aren't we? Because we sort of think, well, we're going to get sort of, you know, we're going to look like, you know, some of these women, these female stage competitors in the IFBB Pro League, that they're sort of, that there's a name called the figure category, and it's like a little bit better. And you see those women and you sort of think, oh, you know, I don't want to look like that. And of course you can't, because most of those women have taken, in fact, in the professional league, every single one of them take performance enhancing drugs. And as women at this stage in life, it's virtually impossible to put on that amount of muscle. You just can't do it. You know, if you can get to my level of muscularity, that's absolutely a miracle. And by the way, I don't take performance enhancing drugs. I'm very anti it. And I do get accused of it when I get really lean, if people see my stage pictures, but it's just because when you get lean, your muscle shows up a lot more. And so it can look, you know, it looks a bit more, you know, extreme. Maybe some people put it on the sort of manly side, but I'm absolutely anti-performance enhancing drugs. I tell you why, because they're not healthy. They're very, very unhealthy for you. And I would never go down that route. It's just not, So, of course, at our age, it's really hard to build muscle. So you either have to spend years on it. So I've spent 7 years on it. That's how I've achieved it. And, you know, really dialing in on your nutrition will help you put on muscle. I actually went through a period 1 year as well where I went into what's called a bulk, where you deliberately put on weight to gain muscle, which is very, very hard psychologically because you have to put on body fat as well. So, you know, it's going to be really hard to put on muscle at this stage in life. So, and some people, maybe if you're like Ebony that we heard from, that she had 60 pounds to lose, it was really great to talk to her because, you know, she still needs to put on muscle to lose weight. Sometimes if you're sort of a curvy woman and you sort of think, well, no, I've got to lose weight first. No, you still need to put on muscle. So thank you for sharing that, because that's a really important point. So those are the things that you shouldn't do. So let's talk about the positive rather than the negative. So what do we do in 2025? Well, secret number one, and this is massive and where most women go wrong. And if you're on your mobile phone, maybe screenshot this. You want to be taking in enough protein. You want to dial in on your nutrition. And this is where, when women do the 8-week challenge, a lot of the reason they see success is because they're really dialing in on the nutrition. And I cannot stress this enough. So if I'm sick and I'm injured and I can't work out, or we get women on our programs, this happens, women that we coach as well, and they'll say, oh, you know, I can't do anything at the moment because I'm sick. And I would never recommend, by the way, working out while you're sick. If you've got a fever or anything like that, what you want to do is spend time recovering. But if you're sticking to your nutrition, you can still make progress. So this I've actually outlined exactly what your nutrition should be like. So it's 1 gram of protein per pound in body weight. You know, it could be 0.8 grams, but that's harder for people to remember. You know, so you could get away with 0.8 grams per pound in body weight. And if you weigh over 170 pounds, shoot for your goal body weight. So I'll give you an example. Maybe you're 200 pounds. Maybe you're watching this and you're 200 pounds. And I work with tons of women in this sort of weight category. So you probably want to, your goal body weight, it might be like, oh, my goal body weight's 160 pounds. Have 160 grams or 150 grams, which would be 0.8 grams of protein. And people sort of think it's really hard to get that amount of 150 grams of protein. It's actually easy, because what it would look like is every meal and snack. And I know some of you it might be getting really late for you, or the early hours of the morning. So just to let you know, this automatically goes up on YouTube as a recording. So if you're getting really tired and you're sort of thinking, right, I want to go to bed. If you're in the USA, it's not too bad. It's 8:45. You know, so you're Eastern time, isn't it? You're in a good place. But if you're sort of thinking it's really late, I want to go to bed, this is this will be going up as a recording in YouTube. So you know, that amount of protein, you probably want to go 50 grams of fat, 40, 30 might be all right. Anything up to 60. Those are the sort of figures, between 1,500 to 1,800 calories. You know, normally for maintenance, 2,000 calories is around about the average maintenance calories. Our sort of National Health Service in the UK, they always, on their website, the National Health Service is great, not for everything, but for information like this. they normally always get it right. It's a very good source of information. On average, women should be consuming about 2,000 calories a day for maintenance. Some people it's a little bit less. For me, because I'm on the lighter side, I would say 1,900 calories would be about my maintenance. You know, I'm on the lighter side, but I do have a fair bit of muscle. So my body is going to be metabolizing fat. You want to be eating low or no sugar and low alcohol. You know, only drink occasionally. My kids said to me yesterday, you know, my kids, the younger ones, I've got a 38-year-old and then I've got a 17 and an 18-year-old. And they said to me, Melissa, when you stop, you stop your working and you retire, and, you know, you could eat what you like, couldn't you, Mum? And you can drink alcohol. Would you do it? And I said, no. I said, because I don't have a good relationship with alcohol. And as you age, I said to them, it doesn't really agree with you anymore. So I don't know whether you've ever heard. I talk to people in the gym, and some of them, they sort of, you know, they drink, and especially at this time of year, they've been drinking, and they say, Melissa, I've got a terrible hangover, and they're getting worse as I get older. I feel so terrible in the morning. This is because no matter what, whether you're a man or a woman, alcohol doesn't agree with you anymore. Oh, can you put your picture on the other side? Yes, let me just, there we go. But then you might not see the writing because it's a bit smaller if you're looking on your phone. Is that better? So you can screenshot that. Somebody's very helpfully told me to put my picture on the other side. There it is. That's the way to do it, isn't it? I was trying to find a way that actually works. So you want and low sugar, because what's happened when we get to this stage in life, we've got something called insulin resistance. And, you know, with my own body, I've assumed that I'm insulin resistant. I haven't tested my blood sugars, but I know my body doesn't respond well to sugar. I tend to sort of, you know, retain a bit more body fat when I'm consuming sugar. And that's down to we naturally, as we go through perimenopause, menopause, we're going to find that our pancreas cannot control our blood sugar levels as well as it did do. So we're going to get blood sugar spikes. And the way to address that is consume less sugar, but also combine your carbohydrates when you're eating protein. Combine. So, you know, we don't want to cut carbs out completely. We want a moderate amount of carbs. So we don't eat a high carbohydrate diet, but we don't do ketogenically low carb diet. Because if we're trying to build muscle, we need a certain amount of carbohydrates to do that. And also we want a sustainable way of eating for the rest of our lives. And if we go really, really low on carbs, that's not sustainable. But if we eat between 100 to 150 grams of carbs per day, that is sustainable. So refined, M first says, refined sugar, let's just put this up here. Refined sugar in the US is the hardest, especially in my tea and coffee. Soda hurts my stomach, so I don't drink that. So yeah, so I'm in Thailand at the moment, and what I found is they lace absolutely everything with sugar. So I went and made a video in this store called 7-Eleven. I'm not quite sure whether it's in the USA. We used to have it in the UK. And it's just full of highly processed food, and everything's got sugar. They also put sugar in their curries. So it's really hard to avoid sugar. So I totally get you. And I would say in your tea and coffee, your sort of taste buds change. So I'd say my taste buds have sort of changed, and that's the thing, is to train your taste buds. My friend Chef Maria, and she comes and joins my Strong Women Club, and she's a nutritionist. Chef Maria is also somebody, she's done bikini shows. She's over 50. I think she's 55 years old, if my memory serves me correct. And one of the things that she talks about, she does live cooking demonstrations in my Strong Women Club, is actually training your taste buds. And so what I like herb teas. So I do like a coffee. It tends to be black, no sugar. I've trained my taste buds for that. But then if I do, I have like a stevia sweetener. Now, I know they get demonized, even stevia is getting demonized, but I believe it's better than having sugar. So I would say that try sweetening with some sort of natural sweetener instead, for. And you know, it's about training your taste buds. Avoid ultra processed foods. So ultra processed, there's a difference between processing and ultra processed. So you've got food, you know, every food that you buy more or less will have a certain amount of processing. So if you buy milk, it's pasteurized. So, you know, we're going to have, you know, a certain amount of processing. I've read a book by Dr. Giles Yeo that talks about this, but we want to avoid ultra processed foods. That's like a good example of that would be a chicken nugget. The longer list of ingredients that you find on the packaging, if it's got a really long list of ingredients that you don't understand, that's like a warning that it's not very good for you. Honey is a great alternative. Kenneth said it can be. The only problem with honey is it can be sort of higher in calories. And so you're sort of exchanging one sugar for another. So I prefer things like stevia or even the sort of erythritols for just making sure the calories are low. And then the other thing we want to be doing, and this was new to me as a menopausal woman, I don't know about you, was taking care of our gut health. And of course, gut health has become more of a phenomenon generally, but we want to be eating fermented foods. We might even want to take a probiotic. We can find, and let me know in the chat, yes, monk fruit, Marcy says, is a really good one. Let me know in the chat, have you experienced digestion issues since you've hit perimenopause, menopause? I did. I didn't realize this was a thing. I did not realize that it was connected to menopause until I started researching about it. And I was having, when I went through menopause, which was around about 3 years ago now, I actually had real problems with my gut health. It's actually got a lot better. Yeah, so we're going back to honey. I'm just going to read out these comments. A. Sarah says, I heard honey might as well be high fructose corn syrup once heated. So if you're going to buy honey, really you should go for raw honey that comes directly from a farm. If we go, so that's what I buy, because although it's sugar, it's a type of sugar, honey, and so there's going to be a calorific content. But what I do is I make sure I measure it, and if I'm going to consume it, I try to consume it with something else so it doesn't give me a blood sugar spike. So if you're going to consume it, measure it, and you know, so you've got a teaspoon, you can measure it with a teaspoon so you know how many calories are in it. Don't buy the stuff in the supermarket, because often I read an article where they tested some of it in the UK and it actually contained sugar in it. So they're kind of deceiving us, the manufacturers. And if you buy it raw directly from a farm, it's actually going to have antibacterial properties, which guess what is really good for your gut. So that's what I would say. If you're going to consume honey, very much in moderation and really invest in the high quality stuff. But of course, if you're not consuming so much of it, you can afford to invest in the high quality raw honey. So that's what I would recommend. So no label just me says raw ginger and lemon seem to help me a lot. Yeah, so the other thing with gut health is probiotic foods, raw honey being one of them, but kimchi, kombucha, sauerkraut, that sort of thing. And also just a diet that's free from ultra processed foods, healthy whole foods, you know, fruit and vegetables, fresh or frozen. Frozen is okay as long as it's not been ultra processed, is great for you. So secret number 2 is how do you work out? Because like I've talked about how you work out. And you don't want to be working out for hours every day, 7 times a week. Now, some people say to me, you must work out, Melissa, every day. Look at you. Look at your body. You must work out every day. I actually don't. I work out 4 to 5 times a week. Actually, a little bit less over the last 7 days because I've been away. So I've worked out 3 times a week. So I don't massively work out. I'm one of those, you know, if I'm in the market for burning fat, I'll do my strength training 4 times a week and do 1 military fitness session per week. And people sort of say to me, what does military fitness mean? It's kind of like burpees. It's high intensity interval training. Any kind of high intensity interval training where you're doing short bursts of intense exercise is really great at this stage in life. Now, if you're sedentary and you've never done that before, so we heard from Ebony and she was sedentary, that might be a bit of a push. So, you know, you want to build in some walking. I do tons of walking now. I haven't put that down, but I kind of do maybe an hour a day of walking. I've actually just bought, and lots of people in my team are doing this at the moment as well. We're doing this a lot. I've bought myself an under-desk treadmill. So in the winter in the UK, it's quite difficult because we have very short days. It's just been the shortest day. It's like it gets light at 8 o'clock and it gets dark at 4 o'clock. So you don't have many hours in the day to go out for an outdoor walk. So I've got this under-desk treadmill and I walk when I'm on meetings. And so I'm walking, you know, for an hour a day. That's really going to help with your metabolism without destroying your muscle. So I do that a lot. And then I do my lifting 4 times a week. And that's 45 minutes a lot of the time. My leg sessions are a bit longer, an hour and 15 minutes. And then my upper body, 2 upper body sessions, 2 leg sessions. That's all it is. So when people say they can't fit it in, you know, in my Strong Women Club, we have 20 or 30 minute workouts, which are condensed. They're timed and they're shorter rest times between sets. So you can fit them in 30 minutes or 20 minutes. So, you know, you can have that, you know, you don't have to be working out for hours and hours. I certainly wouldn't recommend training 7 days a week. It's overtraining. I used to overtrain. It makes you sick. You pick up a lot of viruses and your immune system will just really take a nosedive. And you pick up more injuries. You know, if you're starting out, you might say to yourself, well, Melissa, I can only find time for 3 times a week. That is perfect. Set yourself a goal, and we're going to move on. We're going to move on to talk a little bit about mindset. Set yourself a goal and stick to it. If it's 3 times a week, say to yourself, I'm going to work out 3 times a week. Or if you have something like hypothyroidism, I can't even say it, fibromyalgia, if you've got an autoimmune disease like Hashimoto's, maybe start off with 2 times a week with lifting and doing the rest of the time walking. Do you have the right mindset to reach your goal, do you think? Yeah, so Abby says in the chat, yes, ideally you want to aim for 10K steps a day. So Donna says, what is a military fitness session? It's kind of, it's just a high intensity interval training session where you tend to sort of do, you're going to use, some of them will be weighted exercises with smaller weights. And you're just going to get your heart rate up so that you're going to sort of have short bursts of intense exercise, but you won't be working for that whole session. So if you did a 30-minute session, where you're actually working your heart rate might be only for half of that by the time you break it down, because you're having rests in between. So Girl Trader says, what does a 20-minute cardio? So it could be military fitness. It could be skipping, jump rope. It could be getting on an elliptical, doing 30 seconds of intense and 30 seconds of walking pace. That's what you want to be aiming for with sort of high intensity interval training. 30 seconds of intense, 20 to 30 seconds of intense, 20 to 30 seconds of walking pace or rest. It could be on a rowing machine. It could be on a bike. It could be a power walk. So I'm just seeing if no one's answered the question. Do you feel you've got the right mindset to reach your goal? Mindset is massively important, and that's why I'm asking you the question. And it might be, this is Jen. She did the 8-week challenge. She actually did it in January and saw it over Christmas. She was one of our first participants, and she's gone on to do bikini competitions. She's hired herself a trainer to go and do light shows. That's how much and she had a terrible back when she started, and knees, and she was finding, moving really difficult. So some of you are saying, yes. VW says, yes, I do have the right mindset. Mindset's going to be everything. We heard from Gina, and she said initially she didn't have the right mindset, did she? So it's something you need to think about to yourself, because if you're sort of making excuses and saying, now's not the right time, because I'm putting my dad into a care home, or I've got other things going on, you're probably not in the right mindset. So you have to sort of think about things. Of course, it's never a good time to start anything. If we thought like that, it would never be a good time. Who do you think is responsible for getting to your goal? Is it me? I mean, I'll let you into a story. I had a client who joined me for a coaching program, and I knew she wasn't going to do well because she just had this sense of entitlement that I was going to do everything for her. And of course, it doesn't work like that. You have to have, yes, a coach can give you support. A coach can give you accountability. A coach can sort of, you're going to be checking in with them and letting them know how you're doing. But ultimately, Melissa can't do the workouts for you. and do your meal prep for you. This is Stephanie. She actually bagged herself $10,000 on my transformation challenge. I think she's 58. And she did incredibly well. But I mean, she had a superb mindset. She actually was helping. We got a community and she was helping other women in the community. So you said, no label says, it's ultimately on me. I have to do the work. I need guidance and encouragement. This was slightly rhetorical, this slide, because it's just a reminder. It's a reminder because sometimes we can use things as a bit of a crutch. And I've done that. It's like, it's someone else's fault. If I can't, you know, I get people commenting on my social media, I can't prep my own food because I have a family to cook for. But we just heard from Gina, she had to cook for her family during the holidays, but she still did her own food. I had to cook for my kids while they were young. They're 17 and 18 now, so they do fend for themselves. I do cook for them a bit, and then they fend for themselves a little bit. But I had to do all my own meal prep, and I had to cook for them when they were young. But sometimes people can say, well, I can't do that because I've got a family to cook for. Or my husband, he's bringing food into the house and I can't do it. So they're blaming other people for why they're not in shape. So sometimes they think it's someone else is responsible. I get some women, because of course in my household, Ken does a lot of the cooking. He's amazing. He's a really good cook. He's much better cook than me. And they'll blame their partner. They'll say, well, my partner does the cooking, so I don't control food. Well, I'm afraid you're going to have to take control, aren't you, if that's the case? So these are things you need to sort of ask yourself, especially if you're going to join the challenge, you know, or you want to transform your body. Oh, this is a massive question. And I ask this a lot on my live events. This is massive. Are you prepared to get out of your comfort zone? Let me know in the comments. But you see, this lady here, her name's Elsie. She didn't win any money. Can you believe it? She was in a cohort which was really competitive. She didn't win any money, but she certainly won when it came to transforming her body. And she had to get out of her comfort zone. I've done a video on Elsie because she had a routine where she was drinking every day, drinking alcohol. And she had to quit and look at the results. You know, she had to quit. She had to do the lifting weights. And she had to stop snacking in the evening. She had to do, you got to get uncomfortable. You got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's what I found. This guy in the gym told me this. He said, Melissa, you got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable if you want to change your body. And I was like, what? What do you mean? He said, you're going to feel really uncomfortable about things. It could be mentally uncomfortable. I don't like doing this. I don't like doing 10 sets of 10. I'm more comfortable doing cardio. You might be one of those people. I like running on the treadmill. I don't want to lift weights. There's these two girls in the gym and I call them cardio bunnies. And they tell me, Melissa, I want to look like you. And I'm okay. I say, well, I spend the majority of my time in the gym lifting weights. Oh, I don't like doing that. Well, they're not going to look like me, are they? If they don't. So you have to do some things. Usually you can learn to love them. You know, maybe the food aspect of it is uncomfortable for you. It was for me. It was like, oh, I got to weigh my food out. The first time someone told me to weigh my food out was back when I was 35 years old. I was back 35 years old, and I had this trainer. He was amazing, and he was a competitive bodybuilder, and he got me like lifting weights. I used to actually lift weights and combine it with running, and it worked amazing then, but it doesn't anymore for me. And he said to me, Melissa, you know, at the time they didn't really do that many shows for women. He said, you know, if you really want to take your body to the next level, he said, you can weigh and measure your food. And he took me into the kitchen area of the gym, and he showed me all his Tupperware boxes. They were piled in the fridge. He got them out and he opened them up proudly. And it was chicken, rice and broccoli, because that's what bodybuilders ate in those days. Thankfully, the variety is much better now. And I just, my eyes glazed over. He said, I've weighed it all out this morning, and that's what I'm eating, and that's what you should do. And my eyes glazed over, and I went, I'm not doing that. And of course, because I was 35, I looked really good anyway. I didn't really need to do it. So I was like, no, thank you. I'm not doing that. I did this sort of high protein eating vaguely. I used to do a food diary and write everything down, but it wasn't weighed and measured. But then when I hit my late 40s and I introduced it again, and I saw like incredible results. I haven't stopped. I weigh and measure my food all the time now, but that was really uncomfortable for me to start off with. I was like, wow, it seems like such a chore. But of course, now you've got the digital scales. It's actually really easy. Yeah, so Janice says, I seem to do well when I have a structure to follow. Yes, I was like that. I must admit, I'd love to commit to this coming challenge, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I am going to spend some time on mindset. And, you know, I realise this has been a really long live because it's been over 2 hours. So I do appreciate you know, that are staying on. And some of you, it's really late, or perhaps it's really early. So, you know, I do appreciate you staying on, but and if you can, do watch the recording back, because you can also do it bit by bit. So you don't have to do it all in one go. But these are really important, you know, and I'm going to talk about the challenge at the end. But secret number 3, and this is the last secret, is mindset. And that's why I've asked those searching questions of you. Now, Priscilla, that's here, that's in the chat, she's a master at planning. She's one of my certified menopause coaches. That, you know, if you join one of my programs, you'll get to work with Priscilla in some sort of capacity. You know, if you join, you know, you'll see her at the live events, and she does the live events. You can also work with her one-to-one as a coach. She's a master at planning and organizing, because Priscilla has she has 3 children, not 7 children, 3 children, 7 and under. So you've got to be a master at planning if you're like that, because you can't leave anything to chance. So you have to sort of schedule things in. If you've got a really busy life and you're finding that you're struggling to fit things in, like Priscilla, then you know, Priscilla works full time for me, and she has these 3 children under 7. You don't leave things to chance. You treat your body like a profession. That's what I did. I treated my body as seriously as I did my job, because your health should be, you know, a number 1 priority in your life. It's not wasteful or selfish to treat your body as your health as your number 1 priority. So you have to schedule things in. And Priscilla has this amazing kind of calendar feature that she can do, an online calendar where you can calendar everything in. You need to do your meal prep. If you're taking part in my 8-week challenge, you're going to need to meal prep. You need to prioritize that with your training and your sleep. You know, you might need to some people write lists. that's really good as well. So that's the thing about mindset. And then it'd be good for you to take a screenshot of this or write it down. You know, it's all about taking control and taking action. So when I sign up for something, do you know what I do? So this is what I would recommend you do. The 8-week challenge, if you're signing up for that, it starts on Monday, but you want to download the app straight away and start reviewing it and go and take action. So you probably can't tonight, but tomorrow morning, you might go and do your supermarket shop. You want to take like action on it straight away. Because if you don't do it, what's going to happen? If you keep putting it off, it just won't happen. We talked about you've got to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to do some things you don't like at first, but you'll grow to love them. Like I did, grow to love weighing out your food. You want to have self-belief. If you don't have self-belief, trust the process instead. Do you remember those women were saying at the start, I trusted the process. You want to prioritize yourself. You know what I mean? So that's going to mean learning to say no. Don't feel it's selfish. If you prioritize yourself, your whole family are going to benefit. My family have hugely benefited from me prioritizing myself. It's rubbed off on them. Ken takes part in the training, the food. My son, Luke, my oldest son, you know, I wrote him a workout and a fitness plan. My youngest 17-year-old joined us in the gym the other day. I know with the women that take part in the challenge, their whole family gets on board with it sometimes. So you're not being selfish, because what's going to happen, you're going to have more energy. You're going to be more fun to be around. You're going to be the life and soul of the party. So even though I don't drink, I'm more fun to be around. I have more energy. I have more, I'm in better health to care. I've got elderly parents. I can take care of them because I'm in full fitness. You know, so never feel, you've got to get, women have this mindset that if they prioritize themselves, it's selfish. It's not selfish. It's actually really helpful for everybody in your whole family. So, you know, if there's one thing that you take away from this live today, it's making yourself a priority. It's so, you'll never regret it. Trust me when I say this, you will never regret prioritizing yourself. I haven't. I've done that. I've made myself a priority over the last 7 years. And I used to put everybody before me when I was in my marriage that broke down. I put everybody first and put myself last. And I feel now much better. Not only do I feel better, but everybody feels better that's around me. All my loved ones are being taken care of in a much better way. So, you know, do take that on board. I'm gonna talk about, you know, commitment. Are you ready for commitment? Are you ready to make that change today? Are you ready to prioritize yourself? Do, you know, maybe this is a rhetorical question. If you're ready to make that commitment, I'm going to kind of talk about the 8-week challenge. If you're ready to be 2025 for the year, you know, the year that you're going to like actually make some progress and get rid of that menopause weight gain. Maybe you've got menopause belly fat like I did. In the first 3 months of 2025, we've actually got 26,000 plus cash up for grabs. So rather than 4 women that you've just seen vying for that 23 20,000 top prize. It's going to be 3 women, and there's going to be 1 woman per month that will win $2,000 for each of those cohorts. So January would be announced in March. It works like that because obviously it's 8 weeks. And we have smaller cash prizes every week of $100. And they're not about transformations. They're just about people participating in the community and doing mini challenges. So it's much easier to win one of those. And we've got other cash prizes and merch and coaching sessions up for grabs. So we've got a lot more prizes in 2025 for people to just keep you motivated through the challenge. So some people are saying, yes, you're ready to participate. So if Abby can put the link in the chat. And there are, now if you feel you need more, sorry, I'm going to go to the next slide. Just to give you the price point. So, sorry, that says August. It should be January. That must be jet lag. I'm still experiencing jet lag. Let me just stop screen. So I'll actually take you to the website. That's probably easier than me showing a slide. So let me just share the website where you can join the challenge. Bear with me while I'm working the technology. So I'll add, it's much better to show you this. Oh, no, it's actually showing the slide again. That's me talking in the background. So just share the website because that's actually much easier to show you than my slides that are showing the wrong thing. So I'll just share screen there. So if you can see here, I'll just take you down. So if you join today, it's actually on an early bird discount, which is $97. It is going up to $147. And because I'm a day ahead of you, I'm trying to actually think, but I think it will be tomorrow, up until the end of tomorrow. Probably one of my team can tell you in the chat when the early bird discount finishes. But to be honest, it's still worth it at $147 at full price. So if you miss that early bird discount, I wouldn't worry about it. So that's your standard access challenge. So, you know, do join that as soon as possible if you want the early bird discount. If you miss it, don't worry. You know, so what's included in that? You get your community, you get your entry into the competition. What else do you get? You get all your meal plans, you get your workouts. Now, the meal plans and workouts, they're all inside my app, but they're also available as PDF downloads. So if you're like me, if you're old school and you're like, no, I prefer to have it on a piece of paper and print everything out, I know where I am and I can write on that, you can absolutely do that. And the printouts are available for you to keep for the rest of your life. The access to the app is just for the time of the 8-week challenge, and the access to the community is just for the time of the 8-week challenge. But the community is absolutely amazing, really supportive. You can ask any questions. We have a 7-day-a-week customer service team, which is pretty unusual. Most of these sort of things that you join would only have 5 days a week. Our customer service team is really highly rated. We get emails almost every week from women telling us how great they are. Abby, who's in the chat, actually manages the customer services team. And they are absolutely amazing. And we pride ourselves in how, you know, being really responsive. So you get a response. They work from 9 to 5 Eastern time. They respond usually within an hour. If they don't know the answer, they'll find out from me or somebody in my team and get back to you. And you can also ask questions in the community. You can WhatsApp message us. You can text message us. You can email us. You can phone us. We're a very unusual business for an online business. So you can actually call us. You can pick up the phone and talk to us if you want. Girl Trader says, can I do the challenge just by myself? Yeah, so you wouldn't be eligible for the prize. You do have to sort of share your pictures at the end if you want to win the prize, but you can do the challenge without sharing your pictures if you want to. So hopefully you've got that link to join. And there is, if you're sort of thinking, well, I'd like more support and I'd like to sort of actually access a bit more support during the challenge. It's not available straight from the website, but you will be invited when you go to upgrade your access to something called premium access, which I am now going to sort of share my slides in a second with that. So I'll just lose that a second and share my slides, which will just show you a little bit for an extra $200 on top of that $147, or if you get the early bird discount, it's $97. You will get 6 months access to my Strong Women Club, which is, sorry, that's the wrong slide, which is absolutely an amazing program and huge value. You get one weekly live call with me or one of my coaches, 6 months access to the Strong Women Club. So it means that you've got something sustainable to go on after the 8-week challenge. So you'll have tons of workouts, tons of meal plans, recipes, extra support beyond the challenge, which means that it's sustainable, much more sustainable. And it's like hugely discounted from the standard price. Because 6 months would be, I'm trying to do the maths, $69 per month times 6. I can't do the math at the moment, but I think it's kind of over $500 worth. So it's hugely discounted on the sort of standard price. So somebody in the chat, Abby, could you put in what the standard price is? Because I can't do the math and talk at the same time. It's doing too many things at once. And I'm with my menopause brain fog, I can't think about that. And then maybe you're someone, so this will be offered when you sign up for the challenge itself. You can't see it on the website. And maybe you want to go on for additional support from that. So for an extra $497 on top of the $97 or $147, you'll get everything included in the premium access and the standard access, and then access to one-to-one coaching on top of that, 4 coaching calls, small group coaching calls, as well as that weekly live. So you're going to get like the maximum support, and people that do this find this really, really helpful. If you're one of those people that are like, I find it really difficult to stick to things and I just need extra accountability and guidance and help, you know, you're going to choose your one-to-one calls at a time to suit you as well. You're going to find that absolutely invaluable. So do consider that when you're signing up for this. It's hugely, hugely valuable. I'll sort of stop sharing then, just see if there's, Abby's just shared it. So yes, the premium is at an additional $200 on top of the standard, which is $297. I was trying to work out, Abby, what the normal price of the premium would be if you were you were doing $69 per month for 6 months. So what that would normally cost, the premium access, if you were to buy the Strong Women Club as a standalone. Yeah, so, oh no, she did. And then Abby's put in about the VIP access. BB says the Canadian dollar is poor right now. The other thing is, if you sign up for the $97 standard access, you can actually pay on 2Pay. So if finances are a problem for you, you can split that into 2 payments. And you can split any of those into 2 payments that we've just... So premium access would cost normally $414. So it's a pretty good deal for getting that Strong Women Club. It's a really comprehensive program, and it means that you've got something, you know, sustainable to go on to after the program, which is so important. It's like when you've done the 8 weeks, what can be a real problem for some women, and it's a nice problem to have, is actually turning that into something more sustainable in the long term. So you know that you've got that extra support beyond the program, after the program finishes, to be able to do that. So it's a huge saving on the normal price. So I'm going to end there, because I know we've done a real marathon today, haven't we? 2.5 hour live. And I really do appreciate every one of you for joining on this New Year's Day. It might actually now be the 2nd of January for some of you that have been staying overnight. And thank you to all the women that took part in the 8-week transformation challenge in 2024. I'm hoping to see lots of amazing transformations. An amazing kind of thank you for those women who joined at the start and actually shared their transformation success as well, the prize winners. It was absolutely fantastic to see you. And I will see you very soon on our next live event. I'm planning to do many more live events during 2025. And I hope to see you on my transformation challenge. So have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone, and see you really, really soon. Or wonderful evening. It is daytime here, but it's probably evening or nighttime for you. Thank you so much.